Have you ever noticed that it is the simple stuff that really works, that really works when it comes to money keeping? Let's talk about a few of those ways. Back in a minute. Good morning. Good morning. This is Jan from New York City. Channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. And I love helping people keep some more of their own hard earned money. Could that be you? How you doing today? Hope that this audio video, as always, finds everybody doing well. And by the way, for the brand new people who've been here, thank you so much for coming by and subscribing to the channel. And for the folks who've been here a while, thank you so much for sticking around. And if you're just dropping by to say hello, hello. Hope you have an amazing day. Really appreciate every single one of you. You know, part of the reason that we fall into certain habits is because and it doesn't work out is because there's something about the thing that we're doing that is either something we really don't like or it just doesn't make sense. Now, I'll give you an example. A lot of people don't realize how much they're spending every month on eating dinner out or breakfast out or lunch out. They don't realize it because people get so busy, life happens. And the other mistake is that people don't consider when they call up a meal and have it delivered right to their door, for example, they do not realize that qualifies practically the same thing as going to an outside restaurant and eating. There's still a tip involved. There's still money involved, extra money, I should say. But you know where I'm going with this. But I do believe that we get caught up with certain things. Now, a lot of people dislike the word leftovers. This is the reason why I hardly ever use it. I use it, but I don't use it a lot. I rather say I make a do-over meal because I could take something and turn it into something a notch different without it costing extra money. I'll give you an example, a case in point. I do enjoy, for example, frozen cauliflower. You know, the florets, those are good. I like that. I like the broccoli florets or the pieces. You know where I'm going with this. You could do a lot of things with those two vegetables. You could do it working with them intermittently together or just separately on their own. They're relatively inexpensive. They're easy to get. I mean, you could always get them. And here's what I like to do. Instead of just having maybe just one night, night number one, I'll just have it plain with a little pat of butter on it, for example. I just want a simple meal that particular night. But let's say that I have a bunch of it left over. What I like to do for the do-over meal, I will take that same cauliflower or broccoli, whatever one you prefer, and I will beat up an egg. Okay, now while this is still cold, okay, because it was left over. I'll beat up an egg. I'll put that into the egg, the vegetable. I'll add some grated Parmesan cheese, and I will add some Italian flavored breadcrumb. And what do? I turn it into little patties, and then I fry it with a drop of oil. Literally, you don't, maybe just one turn of oil to the pan. You could use vegetable oil, canola oil. I like canola. Canola has like zero taste to it. Just it doesn't alter anything, and it's pretty good for you too. But, you know, or you could use olive oil too if you prefer, whatever you have on hand, whatever you have on hand. And I turn those like a, let's say, relatively neutral vegetable into something much more yummy. I'm just saying. So I get some, you know, little fried skillet patties out of the cauliflower or the broccoli. See where I'm going with this? A do-over meal is much more fun sometimes. You get to figure it out again, you get to be creative, and you don't spend a lot of money, and they are really good. And by the way, you could do the same method with rice. You could make rice patties the same way. Very inexpensive. I'm telling you. Okay, so now we know, here we are, we're towards almost the end of June practically. We're hinging on July, the beginning of July. This tells me a lot. This is like a flip of the calendar year in a way, like a semi flip. Now we're entering the second half of the calendar year. So what I like to do to start really, really planning. I know it sounds a little nuts, but really, really planning for the upcoming 023 holiday season in terms of checking out, where's my gift giving fund going? I've been, saving up little by little. I started my own little Christmas club, if you will. Remember Christmas clubs back in the day? And some of you might remember I did a video about starting your own Christmas club a few months ago. And anyone who has tried that or has been doing that has been well on their way. So every now and again, I like to check and see where I'm at on those clubs and anything. If you didn't start yet, you could start it now, and you will still be many months ahead of the game. To me, I again, you know what it is? It's a personality thing too. I am not an 11th hour person. I don't like to work at the 11th hour. I don't like to plan events at the 11th hour. I don't like to get ready for things at the 11th hour. 11th hour meaning it's just a euphemism for last minute. I'm not a last minute kind of person. So for me, I like to do things to prepare in advance while things are nice and quiet. I get to do it like little by little. You see where I'm going with this? This way, I avoid being overwhelmed. I'm like not a fan of being overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? By the way, let me take a half a second to remind you to do the following, and I'll be back with some more tips. If you are finding value in this video, please smash down the like button so that YouTube gets to know that you guys like the video. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for future uploads. Thank you so much for that. So let's continue on about the getting ready for holiday season, or I call it Christmas season, whatever season you're celebrating at the time, your gift giving season. Do it now before you are bombarded with a lot of like sales that are thrown at you. Okay, that's the next thing I want to talk about. Sales in general in life. Okay, now just because something is on sale does not necessarily mean it is something you necessarily need. Yes, once in a while we get our wants, of course. But a lot of people fall into the rabbit hole of debt, DEBT, with their credit cards. Why? Because they're not paying attention. Does this item, yes, it's on sale. Yes, it's shiny. Yes, it's brand new. Yes, it looks tempting. I get that. We're all human and we like shiny, brand new things that we are told are on sale. Here's the thing. If it's really offering you personally not much in any value, it's not worth it. I'll give you an example, a specific example. This is a very telling story. Did you ever declutter your house? I'm sure you have, your home or apartment, right? And you come across something that was like, why on earth did I even think of buying this thing? Let's be honest, it's happened to all of us. Maybe you don't remember, but I could almost bet on it that in all probability you might have come across something and said to yourself, why on earth did I ever buy it? Those things are very telling. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? So, in your future temptation, ask yourself, do you think this is really going to serve me in value? That's my frugal mind speaking, but it works. It really, really works. Now let's talk about dining out. Okay, by the way, I need my sip of coffee. Hope you're having a nice tall cup of coffee this morning or nice cup of tea on this Saturday. And I hope, of course, everyone's doing well. Hang on a second. Something about that morning coffee, it's like the best one of the day, right? Let's talk a second or two about dining out. Okay, look, what is the appeal of dining out? One, I'll tell you what it is. One, different environment. Two, we feel we're being pampered. Three, no one has to worry about washing the dishes when they get home. Now, that to me, those are three definitely appealing things. What can detract one from dining out? lack of funds, don't want to fall into rabbit hole of debt, and have savings goals. Now, if we dine out on occasion, great. That's okay. Nothing wrong of it. Honestly, there really isn't. Once in a while, and if you can do it. Again, got to be honest with yourself. You see, this is where self honesty comes in very, very handy. Self honesty is huge. It is huge. Okay, so we got done with the once in a while, but here's where it gets a little crazy. Why don't we consider taking one night or lunch meal or a dinner meal, whatever the meal is, and making it more like a special meal, but do it at home, for example. Like, be creative. If you never play music at dinner time at home, put on some of your favorite music in the background. If you never light candles, I mean, safely, whatever, at dinner time, whatever, consider that. Create an ambience or put something on, let's say on like a video in the background that represents something, very sweet, very pretty, very nice background. There are things we could do at home to break up the whole humdrum. And because of the way schedules are today with many people, who's running here, who's running there, even if you're living with like a bunch of people in your family, many times, one of the great appeals too of people that are dining out is they're sitting together. And I think that's a huge element that a lot of people are overlooking. It's not necessarily it's about where you are. It's about who you're with. And it's not necessarily about the food, because I have even myself visited restaurants in the past where like the food was subpar to me. It was like so-so. And I would say to myself, I could do a better job. Honest, I've had that experience. But what was the attraction at that moment was the music, the people you were with, the atmosphere. So if we could pay attention to that a little bit more, I'm not saying every night, because that's not realistic, but another thing, like people sitting at family dinner table, everybody's burying their head in their device. No, that's the time that the device should be put on hold. No one should bring a device a phone to the table. Just it's bad manners, and in my honest, it really is. And that device could wait a little half hour. This is what really counts when you're having a special meal, especially with your family. I'm just saying, we need not take everyone that we love for granted. Make that special time. It's up to us to create that. And it doesn't have to cost you money at all. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate everybody's time. And you know what? We need to take a moment to relax. Here you go. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care of yourselves and your wonderful families.